Hey guys, everyone needs to learn how to drive a manual transmission. As you can see, we are sitting in the Toyota GR86, and today we're going to talk about why people still need to learn how to drive a manual transmission. And actually, I am still learning how to drive a manual transmission because I just took a couple of lessons earlier last year. So for the last couple of days, I was trying to get back into driving a manual transmission car. And today we're just gonna take this GR86 for a drive and talk about why is it still important to have this skill and why is it fun to drive with a manual transmission. All right, let's get going, guys. We need to get gas first. So while we get there, I'll explain to you what's been like to live with this GR86. Let's quickly go over the interior right here. As you can see, we got the Apple CarPlay with this good screen. We got this beautiful shift knob right here, as you can see. And actually, all of the inputs in this car are so old school and so easy to use, just like you want in this type of car, where everything is focused to be a driver's cockpit. I like how every single input in this car, like your brakes, your clutch, your throttle, are so precise and very responsive. But before we delve deep into this GR86 in particular, let's actually talk about why you need to learn how to drive a manual transmission. First of all, it's just cool, just plain cool, because this skill is actually dying out in this world, especially in North America. I'm pretty sure like 95% of people are driving automatic only. So if you just say to someone that you drive a manual transmission, it's just simply cool. The second reason, obviously, is the fact that it's just so fun to drive a manual transmission. I just drove the 718 Boxster a couple of days ago. Even though it was very fun to drive, it was still not as fun as this GR86. And as you can see, my shifts are not as smooth as I want it to be because I'm still getting used to this car and getting back to driving a manual transmission. So just as a warning, we're gonna have some jerkiness in this car while I drive here, so please forgive me. So while we're creeping up to the gasoline station, let's just look at the design of this digital cluster. I'm such a fan of this classic looking gauge cluster. Even though it's digital, it's still very clear and so easy to use. So this is the look from the back. I feel like this car has such a nice and classic sports car look. Of course, this car takes premium gas since it's a sports car. And while we fill up our tank, let's look at the car from the side as well. I like these wheels over here. They look so clean in this design. Of course, the front as well looks pretty cool. We got this GR badge over here. I just wanted to let you guys see again this cool animation once you start this car. We got this GR spinning logo over here and the GR logo in the infotainment screen as well. So we can change this gauge cluster to be this default one, or you can go to the track mode over here and it's going to change the gauge cluster to the bar chart. So we got the classic window switches here, the switch for your side mirrors. We got this great physical button for dimming your screens. Of course, we got the great AC controls here, which are very easy to use. And this is basically it. We got the physical handbrake, and we're good to go. It's actually one of the hardest days for me to film video for you guys, because I'm still trying to focus so much on driving a manual right now and talking to you at the same time. The visibility in this car is very good. Got those huge side mirrors over here. And whenever you just want to change lanes or accelerate, this car is so good. It turns so well, it accelerates and brakes very fast. So it's easy to do these city maneuvers if you want to just change a couple of lanes to the left or to the right, safely of course. It will do it with no problem. The hardest thing in the manual is getting going. As you can see, I did it very jerkily this time. But once you actually get going, it gets much easier. Whenever you go into the corner, it's so planted to the ground. And I can compare it to the 17 Boxer I drove a couple of days ago. And it's actually handling pretty much the same way. I wouldn't say it's worse or better, but this car starts at about $30,000. And the 718 Boxer starts around like 65, 70,000. You get basically the same handling, and it's actually even lighter than the 718 Boxer by a couple hundred pounds. So you get good value for your money. The steering in this car is sublime. Again, it's so easy to do what you want. It reacts to even your small inputs, as you can see right here. It's just so nice to drive. So I would just say it's just the car that is so fun to drive on its own. But when you pair this with the manual transmission right here, it only gets better. So right now we're going highway speeds. And as you can see, and here it's quiet, it's refined. And it's so not fatiguing to drive this car, even at these speeds. This car comes only with hard roof, so you cannot option it to be as a convertible, and that's why they worked a lot and they did a great job with insulating you on a highway. So as I said, the hardest part of driving a manual is getting started and going from first to second. But once you master those, you are set to go. This car is so good. And we go back into 6th gear. Let's go through these gears a little bit. So I'm gonna go to 4th. So we'll accelerate into 4th gear. Go to 6th. And you can cruise. So when you're cruising at 60, the tachometer is about at 2,500 RPM, so you don't hear the engine that much. This car is so fast. We gotta slow down. The other point about learning how to drive a manual, even though I knew how to drive it, and I took a couple lessons before, the thing I noticed is that it's so much easier when you are proficient with all of the other inputs you have in the car. For example, you know how to drive safely on highways, and you know how to steer, you know how to brake, you know how to accelerate. If you're proficient in all of these things, it's actually not that hard to drive a manual transmission, because you are going to be focusing just on your clutch pedal and your shift knob. And if you know all of the other basics, it's so much faster and easier to learn how to drive a manual. The other highlights of this car, we got 2 cup holders over here, we got a cup holder right here on your left by your knee. We've got great vents, which are so intuitive to use. I actually like this design a lot. It's pretty simple and plasticky, but you get very soft materials for your touch points. Your shift knob, your steering wheel, your elbow rests are all padded. And as I said, as you can see, it's so easy to see everything out of this car. I don't feel like I have a blind spot somewhere. The A-pillars are not very thick. And the other fun thing about a manual is that you are so engaged in the driving experience. all the time. And I feel like it's actually safer to drive a manual transmission because you are basically in control of everything. And as I said, even to get started moving, you have to be so engaged in the process. So you're gonna be automatically aware of all of the situation going on around you. You will not have time to look at your phone or to be distracted by something because you're gonna be so engaged. And you are engaged basically at every single thing you're doing. You're accelerating, you're engaged, you are braking, you're engaged because you have to probably go into neutral or downshift. You are engaged all the time. And in the world we live in, where people are distracted by texting and driving, I've seen even videos of people playing Candy Crush while they drive on this I-5. It's insane how people are so distracted because when you drive an automatic car or in an EV, you basically don't have to do anything rather than braking and accelerating. Well, of course steering, but even cars are steering for you nowadays. So basically it's so easy to get distracted because all of the inputs you do fall into the background very easily. While in here, you are too engaged to actually be distracted. And you have to use 2 of your legs and 2 of your arms to shift and to put in the clutch pedal. So you don't actually have any limbs to get your phone and do something. And I feel like they did a great job with putting this bigger screen right here with your Apple CarPlay, so you don't even want to see your phone basically. And let's quickly talk again about the GR86. In my opinion, this is one of the best sports cars you can get at any price, especially considering this car starts at $30,000. It's just such a great value. It's actually pretty quick. In a manual form, it goes from 0 to 60 in 6.1 seconds. And I feel like this is pretty good because the 987 Cayman and Boxer base versions did the same thing. They went from 0 to 60 in about 6 seconds. And it was not too long ago. Even the new 718 Boxer base goes from 0 to 60 in 5.4 seconds, which is not so much faster than this car. Even if you compare this transmission to the PDK, and everybody knows that PDK is so good, it's still much more fun. The ride quality in this car is pretty livable. It's not too harsh over bumps and bad pavement. Pretty tolerable. But you can drive this car every day and you'll be fine, honestly. And I like the character of this car. Everything feels so alive and real. Even your shift knob, it just vibrates all the time to let you know it's here and it's working. Even though the steering wheel is not as communicative as someone can hope, it's still very precise and easy to use. Your gauge cluster has everything you need. We got the tachometer right here in the center with your speed. As you probably know, we get less and less manual cars every single day. And I feel like it's such a sad thing. While we're here and while they still exist, we should be appreciating these cars. And we should be driving them, learning how to drive them. I feel like it's some kind of a car heritage which we should respect. And isn't this fun to accelerate like this in the second gear? And we still are going adequate speeds. This car is so good in terms of daily driving because you can have fun in this car at very adequate speeds because it makes you feel like you're going much faster. So my 2025 resolution, guys, is to learn how to better drive manual transmission. And it was such a great experience to drive this GR86 because this is one of the cars I'm actually considering buying for myself one day. Of course, in manual form. And you should too. I don't see any reason why you should not. If you're a car enthusiast, it's just so fun to drive a manual car like this. It's a sports car, it's rear-wheel drive, it has limited slip differential, it's light, it's simple, it's affordable, it's easy to find parts for. It's a Japanese classic sports car. I'm still searching every time in second gear to get the perfect amount of revs. So forgive me if you feel like I'm driving poorly. I am. And once again, I just want to say, please learn how to drive a manual transmission. I promise you, it's going to be so much fun. Yesterday was actually very frustrating to me because I felt like I lost all of my knowledge from previous times, and it took me so long to get comfortable in this car. But once I felt the bite point, it became so easy. And it became so freaking fun. Anyone can do it, I promise you. People have been doing it for so long now. So yeah, I hope I encouraged someone to drive a manual transmission or learn how to drive a manual transmission. Alright, cool. We're done. Let me show you the exterior one last time. We got very cool headlights for this car as well. I like it better than the ones on the BRZ. We got this cool air intake, which adds to the aggressiveness of the front fascia. Nice Toyota badge, as I said, very cool GR logo. Black cap. There's another intake right here. Yeah, it just looks so handsome, especially for this price. But at the same time, it's not screaming at you like I'm wealthy, I'm rich, or something like this. It's pretty understated, which I like about it. Let me quickly show you what the trunk situation is here. We got a decent amount of space. You get your tire repair stuff right here, maybe some extra storage. And actually the seats fold down and you can get much more cargo capacity because these are not very usable, to be honest. Nice cloth seats, hold you in place pretty well, and they're pretty comfortable. But yeah, guys, this is it. Thank you so much for watching. As I said, learn how to drive a manual. Stay safe out there. I'll see you in the next one.